We're gonna do the step again. So you take off on your left. 1, 2, 3. Feel me? So it's got to be in there like that. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're on your square. Now that's deep, right, son? Feel me. Alright. Now let's go into another degree. Take the shoes off. The kingdom. And I just wanted to make that point. Show you that. Now I'm going to show you. Does that have anything on? Okay, look. Back in the days when everybody was studying CM Bay's lessons, you had to do your copyright thing. So when you did your copyrights, this is what came back. That's the degree right there, AA222141. Right? Now you have Noble Ali's teachings is not the same, not exactly the same as CM Bay. You feel me? Let's see, if you look at CM Bay's paperwork, you'll see he has Circle of Life. See, that's a fact. Now, Circle of Life is basically teaching you about the zodiac. That's his third book. You can see all throughout the whole book was zodiac. That was his teaching, zodiac. And then you have the Zodiac Constitution, right? Pardon me. And then you have, okay, now I want you to see this part here. This is where you see the Moorish saying, I self law and master. That falls under the marriage obligation laws. That was the 5th degree. Let's see if I can find that for you. Pretty sure it was the 5th degree. 5th degree, you see it right here? Where he says, children by the law of nature, which spells Islam, or I self-law and master. Now this was made manifest. Let me see, he'll say when he taught it. Here you'll see, copyrighted 1947, all rights reserved, a free Moorish American. See, he had these other books too. He had these 2 books here. He had Clock of Destiny book 1, that's the same book. And he had Clock of Destiny book 2. Now this one has his picture and everything in it. And you can see what he says in, right here, he says CM Bay, PhD, LLD, 3rd, 33rd, 360 degree, Master Mason, Free Moorish Master Astrologer, Moorish Constitutional Lawgiver. I would imagine that his law would have been shown and proven in his Constitution. So, he had a Constitution like that. Publication that I got from the Great Seal National International Association. They had the web. Remember, hey, Hakeem, remember when he said, we was in the court when he said, get your rudder. That shit didn't work, but he said, get your rudder anyway. But that's the web. That was another publication. You can see Masonry is very prominent in CM Bay's teachings. But in Noble Ali's teachings, you don't even see anything about Masonry. You mostly hear him speak on the carpenter, which would be Jesus the carpenter. He speaks a lot about Jesus and carpenters, where C.M. Bay, he didn't really speak on the carpenter. He spoke on Masonic rites, and he spoke on the teachings of Solomon, King Solomon, harem of Biff. You know, I've seen a lot of his paperwork. A lot of his paperwork looks like to me he's talking to Eastern Stars and Masons. Now this is C. Kirkman Bey. That's the brother who took over after the noble prophet Drew Ali. Then C. Kirkman Bey, he took over. But he also had, when the prophet was around, if I'm not mistaken, could have been before, after the prophet, the Adab Chamber. That's an Adab Chamber book. Brother Arloville also had books on the Adab Chamber. And this is in conclusion to the similarities of the groups, you know. The similarities of the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. You can see his crown, right? And that's Theology of Time. It's a nice video you can get. And then you have Noble Drew Ali. Well, you had Noble Drew Ali. We actually had W.D. Farad, Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, C.M. Bay, and then the conclusion would have been the father. 1964, you know, they manifested the 5% nation. There's a set of 120. Now, that's a student enrollment, but you can see that's the whole set of 120 right there. Then you have, you know, various plus degrees. This is one of the plus degrees of Father Allah. And then you have plus degrees that also came out by the first 9 born. And if I'm not mistaken, the 14 born of Medina also had plus degrees. One of the most famous degrees that came out from the guards of Medina would be Universal Sham Guards, Universal Flag, and the lesson that he wrote on the Universal Flag. All right, so I'm just finishing up the video. Like here, you can see he had Noble had Moorish literature. He also had divine constitution and bylaws and additional laws. Like on the back of the literature, you can see he had his questions and additional questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And it's my divine constitution and bylaws. There's somewhere. I don't keep up with that information as much as I used to back in the days when I was studying. But you can see I can get a whole set of 120 real quick. I just wanted to show you something else. Like when I was studying with Rami Bey, because Rami Bey was teaching under the Great Seal of National and International Affairs. And all of us were out there. Messiah, not firstborn black Messiah. Messiah, I think his surname is Bey. Messiah and Nakeem was like the 2 major players. There was other brothers, but Rami Bey was the first one to turn me on to this book. And then there was a sister, Queen Yana. She turned me on to this. She was a Washita sister. She is a Washita sister. I met her out in Far Rockaway on Beach 20th Street. That's when we started doing our investigation into United States codes, constitutional law, statute law, Constitution being suspended since 1933, FDR, the stock market falling in 29, other historical events that took place like the suspension of the Constitution in 1933, Then you had 1972 Nixon when Nixon took us off the silver standard, and if I'm not mistaken, FDR took us off the gold standard, and that was that study, because it was dealing with law, legalities, and how you represent yourself, pro se, proper persona, and so juris. That's what led a lot of the guards to go into law school in Columbia and all these different law schools. They started taking that law school over there in Brooklyn, right by J Street Borough Hall. You see a lot of guards went there to study law. It helped with when the European would run up on us and try to incarcerate us. Also, you had the Great Seal of National and International Fairs. They came up with the 5 symbol plates because they were fighting the DMV, registration, insurance, plates, IRS. They was fighting the IRS. They were dealing with all dial, land, real estate, the banking system, Federal Reserve notes. That's when you start getting into Dr. Gene Schroeder. That's when he starts explaining to you about how the Constitution been suspended. And you go into maritime law, admiralty law. The similarities, like you'll see us say I self Lord and Master, and they'll say I self Law, LAWN Master. The only time I ever seen I self Law and Master in any of the literature of the Moors is right here in the like I said before, in the that's the only time you really see it. It's only in here. Now, it may be in other degrees, and I just don't remember because it's been so long since I really went through these degrees. But, I was talking to the young guard, and he was saying, nah, it is I self Lord and Master, but he never told me where it was. I had to go look my damn self. He could have at least said, nah, son, it ain't in none of the literature except the Asiatic Constitution. No, not the Asiatic Constitution, the Zodiac Constitution. Asiatic Constitution is what the guards got. Zodiac Constitution is what the Moors have. And then you have Masonry, the Masonic Lodge. They have Duncan's Ritual, and they have their different books. And then you have Elijah Muhammad with Supreme Wisdom, and W.D. Farad taught Elijah Muhammad. You have the Problem Book and all of those different degrees. And finally you get to 1964 with the Father Allah and the 5% Nation, the Gods and Earths, Universal Nation, the 5%, and all of these groups, like you have Marcus Garvey, you have the Rastafarian movement, you have Noble Drew Ali, you have W.D. Farad, you got Elijah Muhammad, you got C.M. Bay, you got Father Allah. All of those men from the wilderness of North America, and I'm talking about, when I say America, I'm talking about from Alaska to Chile. These men came to enlighten the Asiatics in North America, and then their sheep gravitated towards whichever degrees they had. But now in the nations, the only nation that was really designed for the children was the 5% Nation. The youngest nation out of all the nations is the 5% Nation, the Gods and Earths. We saw a lot of things happen as children, and then in the 60s our father came, and the hardship that we were receiving in the streets, we didn't get these degrees that these other nations had gotten, because we were the children, and our parents weren't studying Lost Found Muslim lessons. They weren't in the Moorish Science Temple. They weren't Hebrews. They weren't. Maybe they was Christian, but maybe they weren't really going to church. They weren't Jehovah's Witness. There was no saving power in the ghetto of hell until the Father came and save the children. And with that, I'm going to say peace. You listening to Set the Record Straight, an AOFFA production. Ain't you know the Free Asiatics? You know how we do it. We set the record straight. It is what it is. And I'm going to say peace.